if this is going to happen? What if this is going to happen? Play with it. Just a little bit. Overthink it. Just a little bit. Don't drive yourself nuts. Please, God, don't. I'm not telling you to do that. But you push the limit. And then do that. If you can get to that state of mind, do that every single performance you have. Every single one. Do it. And I think, overall, you might see an improvement. Perhaps in some areas where you thought there could be. Like, how can this punch look different? How can this throw be better? Well, you know exactly where you feel the pressure on your vertebra when you do the move. You know exactly where the torsion is in your trunk as you're throwing somebody around. You know exactly where you need to reach for it to be comfortable for you. Is it comfortable for them? No? Back it up a little bit. Make it comfortable for your partner because they are working with you. But once you get to that point, once you know, like one of my favorite things to do, I do it all the time because mainly because I think it's funny, is throwing a punch. Somebody redirects the punch. Think about your arm, how it moves. Well, we pivot at the shoulder, right? We don't really pivot, we bend at the elbow. We can turn a little bit at the wrist, we bend at the wrist as well. Boom. Think about those points of articulation and how the muscles move. Really think about that for a second. Now, when you throw a punch, you're driving force not into the person, but past the person. As you're driving that force past the person, let's say they redirect it. You can also redirect. They redirect here, you immediately wrap it around. Be dynamic with your movement and think about your body in those dynamic moments. Again, don't drive yourself crazy. Don't hurt yourselves. But really give yourself the opportunity to expand on it, to broaden your mind to the possibility. But that's what I've done over the years. And I keep doing it. I try to keep doing it. Picking up new techniques here and there, learning new stuff from anybody, taking all that knowledge in, seeing how people move, watching how people move, trying to copy how people move, knowing my limits and knowing where I can't move. But how can I accomplish said move or action if I know I am compromised? Thinking those steps through. I know I can't throw a person in a particular way because I am not an aerial person. I don't kick my legs up, I don't fly, I don't do any of that.
I hope not.
So how would I throw them? I throw them as a base. I know I'm not going to fly up with my legs and do something crazy. So I throw them as a base. Widen the stance, center my gravity, turn, and toss. That's how I would do it. Simple thoughts like that. But yeah, that's what I got. I find that what we do out here for the open sparring is one of the best ways, I think, to really expand on that thought process in a safer environment. It's a little different, obviously, when you're wearing armor and whatnot. Most humans have this psychology where if you put armor on, you're just going to throw hits harder. You're going to take things harder. You're going to shrug into it. Happens in football, happens in hockey.
Thank God we got one such individual out.
Right, right.
Although he actually ousted himself.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're free sparring out here, don't let yourself freeze up. Be fluid. But still, think those 4 moves, those 5 moves, those 6 moves ahead. And if you want to get really crazy, for each one of those moves that you think ahead, for each one of those opening positions, for each one of those starts that you take, they also have a branch that goes 4 or 5 different ways. And then those have 4 or 5 different ways. And then those have 4 or 5 different ways. And then you can start to really, really crunch how elaborate this is.